Darshan Hiranandani has now put out an explosive affidavit that's breaking now on NDTV. He has said in this affidavit that Mahua Moitra gave her MP email ID and login to me. So now this completes the chain that we have been looking at. So Darshan Hiranandani has turned an approval, ladies and gentlemen. The details that are coming in is, he is saying, Darshan Hiranandani is saying, I uploaded questions on Parliament account of Mahua Moitra. He goes on to say, I posted questions targeting Gautam Adani and Adani Group. He goes on to say, posted questions from Mahua's account based on unverified information. Those are strong statements coming in from Darshan Hiranandani, who has now filed an affidavit, and in that he has clearly said that Mahua wanted quick success in politics. Mahua targeted Prime Minister Modi for political success. Darshan Hiranandani in an affidavit has said that Mahua targeted Adani to target Prime Minister Modi. Mahua worked with Rahul Gandhi to target Prime Minister Modi and Gautam Adani. Some very, very explosive details coming in now. I will also get in Vasudha in just a bit. Just look at those flashes on your television screens. It also says that Mahua took help of foreign journalists from NYT, that is New York Times, FT, BBC, that she was in touch with some Indian media houses as well. Explosive affidavit here of Darshan Hiranandani that has been accessed by us. Go ahead, Vasudha, give us more details.
Well, Maria, damning details put out by Darshan Hiranandani in his affidavit. Remember that Jay Dehatre, who is this lawyer, 35-year-old lawyer who was based in Delhi, who filed a CBI complaint, and he basically had said that of the 61 questions that Mahua Moitra had asked, 50 were targeted either at Adani or meant to perpetuate the interest of the Hirnandani group. So that happened last Sunday, after which a parliamentary committee had basically also called for a probe, and this was after the letter by BJP MP Nishikant Dubey. Now, explosive details by, in the affidavit that has been filed by Darshan Hiranandani, in which he has turned a corroborator of sorts, and he's clearly said that, in some ways he has said that everything that Jay Dehatre had said is all right, and he's saying that he was the one who was handling her login, and he was the one who basically was meeting her quite often, and he talks about this close equation that he and Mahua Moitra shared, and he basically also exposes how this MP allegedly not just was in touch with some Indian journalists, but also with foreign journalists, and how she could not take on Narendra Modi because of his irrefutable reputation. She started taking on Mr. Gautam Adani, and she started targeting that group, and how he throughout in the last, he says that he knew her in 2017. That's when he was introduced to her. It was this Bengal Business Summit in which he was introduced to her, and both of them actually found each other interesting, and they've kept in touch. And throughout these last 7-8 years, what has happened is, he is saying that at many times I did feel that I was being misused, and I was being asked for a lot of favors, and he says in his affidavit that Mahua Moitra was very dominating and would ask him to do a lot of things immediately, and it was always like, just do it right now. And he felt that, from getting her house decorated to buying her expensive gifts to, arranging logistical support for her travel, everything he had to do because he felt that he needed her support. She also had good relations with Rahul Gandhi in opposition states, so he felt that his business could expand in opposition rule states. And he also
on this affidavit, Vasudha, just hold on to your thoughts. We have the affidavit, and the affidavit of Darshan Hiranandani says she was delighted at the response she received from the first set of questions that I had sent her relating to the Adani Group. Darshan Hiranandani in his affidavit has said, she told me that she was particularly happy with the response and support she got from the opposition members and certain sections of the media. She therefore requested me to keep supporting her in her attacks on Adani Group. This is what Darshan Hiranandani is saying. She said she requested me to keep supporting her in her attacks on the Adani Group and provided me her Parliament login and password so that I could pose the questions directly on her behalf when required. She provided me the Parliament login and password. This is Darshan Hiranandani turning an approver and filing an affidavit. PKD Nambiar is joining us. This is certainly a big setback for Mahua Moitra. Mr. Nambiar. Okay, we will try and connect with him in just a bit, but let me read another part of this affidavit. It says, Miss Moitra, in her endeavor, was getting help from other people like Sucheta Dalal, Pallavi Shroff, who were in touch with her and who were feeding her with all kinds of unverified information relating to Shri Gautam Adani and his companies. So all these details are coming in. Sanjay Singh, journalist, is also joining us. This is explosive. This is explosive, to say the least, Sanjay Singh, for Mahua Moitra to give her login ID to Darshan Hiranandani, and he has explained the entire chain of events. Everything building clearly up.
Maria, what began as a cash for query kind of a thing has turned out to be one of the biggest and most sensational expose or scandal of recent times. What Darshan Hiranandani is in his own affidavit has said is startling, is shocking. That a member of parliament, that to what Tejasvi Yadav was referring yesterday about her grooming and about her going to good schools and colleges and good jobs, shows precisely how people get ambitious and how ultimately they turn out to be. This is very, very revealing. In fact, Darshan Hiranandani says that his relationship ultimately he had to break with Mahua Moitra because her demands were growing incessantly and luxurious, expensive demands were growing. And therefore, ultimately, he could not cope up with it beyond a point, and then he separated. He also he says that attack on Adani and Modi government, Prime Minister Modi in particular, and was an easy route, she thought, and she was advised this to be an easy route to make a name for herself in Delhi's kind of left liberal circles and also national stage. She was good. She was good in speaking. She was articulate. She had flourish of Queen's language, and all things combined in one. Mahua Moitra indeed became a darling of cocktail circuits, Khan markets, left liberal groups, and all anti-Modi grouping. This turns out to be a sensation which is not going to be restricted to Mahua Moitra.
This is explosive affidavit. Sanjay Singh, continue to be with us. Continue to be with us, because I'm reading another paragraph of this affidavit in which Darshan Hiranandani is saying, as was her wont, she thought that the only way to attack Shri Modi is by attacking Shri Gautam Adani and his group, as both were contemporaries and they belong to the same state of Gujarat. Darshan Hiranandani says in his affidavit, she was helped by the fact that the rise of Shri Gautam Adani had created jealousy and detractors among some sections of businesses, politics and media, but both within and outside country. So she expected support from these sections in her endeavor to malign and embarrass the Prime Minister by targeting Shri Gautam Adani. She knew that Indian Oil Corporation, preferring to get into a long-term take-off agreement with Dhamra LNG, a joint venture company of the Adani Group, and not with my companies. So she knew about everything, and that is the reason why she went ahead. It was about targeting Gautam Adani, targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Go ahead, Sanjay Singh.
Mahua, you very well explained this whole thing. This is listed in point 9 of his affidavit, and in detail as to why she was targeting Adani and via that to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This was a strategy. Therefore, I dare say this is not going to be restricted on only Mahua Moitra. This is going to be a long-haul probe whereby the whole strategy of this particular group of people, here Advocate Jai Kishan has mentioned about this particular thing. But if you remember, same was said by George Soros. Same things have been in different languages said by different Congress leaders and several other people. Mahua Moitra in turn chose for also her personal limelight, and therefore this also says that in effect she became very close with Rahul Gandhi, also with Shashi Tharoor, and also some other people. Therefore, and Mahua Moitra also boasted that she was offered twice Rajya Sabha ticket by the Trinamool Congress, by Mamata Banerjee, and she refused because she only wanted to come to Parliament via Lok Sabha. Now that is for Trinamool and Mamata Banerjee to explain whether they had actually offered her Rajya Sabha seat twice, and after her refusal they sent her to Lok Sabha. If that may be the case, then this also going to be a huge talking point. As far as that particular scandal.
Let me bring in PKD Nambiar as well. PKD Nambiar, the affidavit which is with us says this. Ms. Moitra drafted a few questions that would have led to embarrassment of the government by targeting the Adani group. Questions that she could raise in Parliament. She shared with me her email ID as Member of Parliament so that I could send her information and she could raise the questions in the Parliament. I went along with her proposal. It's very clear in this affidavit, which has been filed by Darshan Hiranandani. He is talking about his equation with Mahua Moitra, saying clearly that she was targeting Gautam Adani Group. She was targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Go ahead, PKD Nambiar. And it's very clear that he is saying that he was the one posting questions using her ID.
Shocking. This is absolutely shocking. I think even now everything is open and out. The deal is confirmed. What was happening and everything is open now. I think we need to further go. Other than Mahua Moitra, who else is a part of this whole conspiracy? Yes. Is it an international conspiracy? Of course, we know that there are international people.
There is more in it. PKD Nambiar, let me read another paragraph. I think this is an important paragraph. Paragraph number 11, ladies and gentlemen. It says, clearly, there were others also assisting her in this targeted attack. That is the word, targeted attack, ladies and gentlemen. She had interactions with many Congress leaders, including Shri Rahul Gandhi, on matters relating to Adani companies. She also had frequent interactions with international journalists from Financial Times, the New York Times, the BBC, and also with several Indian publications. She also received unverified, important point here, unverified details from several sources, including some claiming to be former Adani Group employees. She has said that she was in touch with several MPs, including Rahul Gandhi.
And for what? Just to make sure that there is an enterprise which is giving lakhs and lakhs of employment, and also in getting investment and investing in the core projects of this country, particular country, just to tarnish. And the only route is to demolish the image of the Prime Minister, is the route of Adani. I think this is something which is very big. What you are seeing right now is maybe very small part of it. This has got a big conspiracy. I think there should be an inquiry for all those people who takes the name of Adani in the morning to evening in every public forum and attacking them.
Bengal BJP chief Sukanta Majumdar is joining me on the phone line. Sukanta Majumdar, it's clear the linkages have been built in this affidavit submitted by Darshan Hiranandani.
Yes, sir. Now it is quite clear that it is a big conspiracy, and because some foreign entities also, foreign institution also, they have targeted the Indian industrialists, and maybe this woman, that is the MP, Mahua Moitra, may be the part of the bigger conspiracy. So obviously it should be investigated thoroughly and properly, because it is not only related to the Adani Group, it is a target-oriented attack on the Indian economy. Due to the decrease in the share prices of the Adani Group, lots of people they have faced their losses. They lose their money. They lost their money, and that's why it is not a single thing. I think it is a part of the bigger conspiracy, and it should be investigated thoroughly so that international linkage may come out in future in this regard.
Okay. So the point here is, and I'm going to emphasize on these paragraphs, I think that they sum it up very well, sir, because you're joining us on the phone line for the first reactions that are coming in from the BJP. It says clearly she expected support from these sections in her endeavor to malign and embarrass the Prime Minister by targeting Shri Gautam Adani. उनका इंटेंशन साफ था, यही साफ तौर पे बोल रहे हैं दर्शन हीरानंदानी.
Intention was quite clear that their prime target was our honorable Prime Minister, and they wanted to malign our honorable Prime Minister with keeping the gun on the shoulder of the Adani. So Mahua Moitra was a part of it, and it should be investigated thoroughly. After the acceptance of Hirnandani ji, it should be investigated.
And you are saying that she should be investigated. Sukanta Majumdar, first reaction coming in from the BJP, she should be investigated. Darshan Hiranandani also used her password, her email ID. This is breach of privilege, Sukanta Majumdar, and someone who used her ID is saying that.
Yes, obviously it's a breach of privilege, and Hirnandani used Mahua Moitra for doing these things. But behind Hirnandani, who are those people? We should investigate that, because it is as I have already stated that it is not only the attack on the Adani, it was an attack on the Indian economy. They have tried to malign our honorable Prime Minister. So obviously there should be a investigation, and all the people behind it. It is a bigger conspiracy that should be open up, and that the investigating agency should bring out the truth in front of the people of this country.
So when you say bigger conspiracy, सुकंतो मजुमदार जी, यहाँ पर तो उन्होंने साफ तौर पे कह दिया कि जर्नलिस्ट के साथ भी वो बात कर रही थी. न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स, एफटी, BBC and all these journalists, and also some journalists in the Indian media houses who were ready to publish all the unverified information.
No, also journalist लोग भी तो पीछे है जो दुखी है, जो पहले पीएम के साथ एक हवाई जहाज में फॉरेन ट्रिप में जाते थे, आज जाने का मौका नहीं मिलता उन लोगों को. वो तो बहुत दिनों से दुखी है. जो लुटियन जर्नलिस्ट जो बैठ के तय करता है कि मंत्री सभा कैसे बनेगा, कौन मंत्री बनेगा, कौन नहीं मंत्री बनेगा, ऐसे जो जर्नलिस्ट है, they are really unhappy with this Prime Minister. So because they don't have this privilege of zamindari now it comes to the people's zamindari. So that's why they are unhappy with the Prime Minister, present Prime Minister. So that they are also involved in this thing.
So it's very clear that the purpose was to embarrass the Prime Minister, and it was done by targeting Gautam Adani. यही बोला है इन्होंने. दर्शन हीरानंदानी के सोन एफिडेविट है ये, जो हमारे पास है. वो साफ तौर पे कह रहे हैं कि क्योंकि ये प्रिविलेज कमेटी का, अब एथिक्स कमेटी का, पार्लियामेंट प्रिविलेज कमेटी का मामला है और जुडिशरी को भी पता है, तो इसलिए उनको अपना पक्ष रखना जरूरी है. और उनका पक्ष ये सोन एफिडेविट में आता है, जिन्होंने साफ तौर पे ये कहा है that she was in fact targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. She wanted to embarrass Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and she thought that can be best done by targeting Shri Gautam Adani, because Gautam Adani and Prime Minister Modi come from the same state of Gujarat.
हिंदी में कहावत है, कहीं पे नजर कहीं पे निशाना. तो नजर कहीं पे था, निशाना प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे. तो obviously it was a conspiracy, and that's why investigation is very much needed, and it should come out in the front of the people of this country, because these people of this country voted for this honorable Prime Minister, and they have given this mandate, and these people, Mahua Moitra, Hirnandani and their allies, they have tried to malign our honorable Prime Minister. So I think the investigation should continue and the truth come out, so that people get the actual things in front of them.
Truth must come out. the real picture should emerge. That is the first reaction coming in from the BJP. Shukanta Majumdar there. He is the BJP West Bengal chief joining us. We have Desh Ratan Nigam, advocate of the Supreme Court, also joining me now. I can see PKD Nambiar as well. Desh Ratan Nigam, it's explosive, and each and every paragraph, if you look at it, talks about the larger conspiracy. It talks about linkages, the intent, and why it was being done.
Yes, Maria, in fact, while I was with you on the very same topic about a day back, and I told you that this deep conspiracy has international actors and national actors, both domestic and international, and it is coming out. And this sworn affidavit, as you say, is so explosive. I was just going through its contents. The international journalist, in fact, Rahul Gandhi's name also has come into the picture. The Mahua Moitra interacting with her. So it appears iske taar bahut gehre hain. And a lot of people are going to come if it is seriously investigated, if the CBI takes into its ambit and registers a case and brings out everything. The evidence is so crystal clear, although it has to go through a trial process. There is a clear motive out here to embarrass the government, taking a bribe, asking questions, which is breach of privilege of the parliament, Lok Sabha, and the contempt of court, apart from criminal conspiracy, and so many other, criminal acts can also come in once the investigation goes. And clearly, there was clear effort to harm Mr. Adani, and the Adani group did suffer after Hindenburg report, and you can see the connections, both the people within the country and outside the country trying to harm the group, which was which is still one of the topmost, groups on the international market and international financial sector, and having its presence in, huge number of countries. And then what happens that a member of parliament, which you do not expect to do all these things, comes out and attacks and trying to, somehow find linkages between Mr. Adani and the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. And then trying to,
in this affidavit, in this sworn affidavit, which we have, I'm going to read another paragraph because we have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, the magnitude of the conspiracy. The kind of things that went into all those questions that were being raised by Mahua Moitra, as Darshan Hiranandani says that he was using her password, her email ID, her login of the member of parliament to pose those questions. And then he says, and it's an important paragraph, and I would ask both of you to share your views. The only problem was that Sri Modi enjoyed an impeccable reputation and was not giving any opportunity to anyone to attack him in policy, governance or personal conduct. As was her wont, she thought that the only way to attack Sri Modi is by attacking Sri Gautam Adani and his group, as both were contemporaries. And they belonged to the same state of Gujarat. She was helped by the fact that the rise of Sri Gautam Adani had created jealousy and detractors among some sections of businesses, politics and media, both within and outside the country. So she expected support from these sections in her endeavor to malign and embarrass the Prime Minister by targeting Sri Gautam Adani. So now the question is, PKD Nambiar, who are these people? Some sections of businesses, politics and media within India and outside India who wanted to embarrass Prime Minister Modi by targeting Gautam Adani.
Well, Maria, this is even Darshan Hiranandani, we both used to articulate on the conspiracy of this whole story, not from today, even way before. The only thing which I feel is that what is the stand of TMC now? Everything is open, crystal clear, as the paragraph one line by line, when you read it, everything is clear and it's open. What is the stand of TMC? What is going to be the stand of the Lok Sabha Speaker tomorrow morning? What is going to be the authorities going to do, and how much deep is this network of anti-Modi gang is working? It's more of like a hatred rather than, I won't call it like just a political enmity. It is more of like a Modi hatred, which like a wave which was working. All those kind of glamorous and glitters they were throwing and talking about Adani and Adani and Adani. And Adani is not India. Adani is one of the big enterprise which is contributing to the growth of India. I think attacking Adani, I'm not saying that if Adani has done something wrong, of course Adani should also be brought to the book. But is it the way somebody take money, give your credentials to someone else to upload whatever the privileges the Lok Sabha has given it to you, the Parliament has given it to you.
It must come out.
Ladies
and gentlemen, it must be investigated. Who are these people? Some sections of businesses, politics and media, both within and outside the country, because their only aim was to embarrass Prime Minister Modi by targeting Gautam Adani. The larger question here is that the names of several international journalists, from Financial Times to New York Times to BBC and several Indian publications, all that must come out, because she also received unverified details from several sources. Details of these sources must also come out, Deshrat Nigam. Who are these sources?
Absolutely. You know, although one can, see the reports of those times of international newspapers and the journalists who publish, the editors who were involved, it can be easily relatable, and once you have an explosive admission by the Hiranandani group and its chairman, then it becomes slightly more easy. And that requires a deep investigation. And apart from, Mr. Adani has been attacked, there is no doubt about it. It's a hit job, unquestionably a hit job. Supreme Court could not find anything. SEBI also said there was nothing, wrong when the Hindenburg report came out. And after some time, it was clearly proven there was nothing wrong. And therefore, today, what we see that these people have to be brought to book. Because today it is Adani's group, tomorrow it could be Reliance, Ambani's, then Tata's and Birla's. They are trying to strike not only Adani, but India's sound financial and corporate base, which is trying to make India the third largest economy in the world. And that is where they are trying to attack. And that is where the Prime Minister Modi, who's taking this country to the highest level and trying to make this country a Vishwaguru, the entire cabal, and given the fact that Indian politicians are also involved, I think the Indian law has to deal the heaviest blow of law onto these people and to make an example of these people that do not compromise the national interest, do not try to,
and those were the days
like Mahua
when
Moitra.
India was certainly being seen, the spotlight was on India because of G20 preparations. We were seeing that there was a lot of curiosity about the India story, and then comes the series of stories in international publication, all trying to derail the India story. It's becoming increasingly clear. Harshvardhan Tripathi, your views, your opening comments on this affidavit, this sworn affidavit of Darshan Hiranandani.
मारिया, दर्शन हीरानंदानी के इस लेटर के बाद, इस एफिडेविट के बाद, सबसे पहले मुझे लगता है कि महुआ मोइत्रा के खिलाफ आपराधिक मामला दर्ज होना चाहिए। ये क्रिमिनल ऑफेंस है, और जिस चीज को लेकर वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में गई है, यानी उन्होंने डेफेमेशन का केस दाखिल किया है, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय उस पर किस तरह से रिएक्ट करेगा, उसकी भी प्रतीक्षा हम लोग करेंगे। भारतीय राजनीति के इतिहास में एक कैश फॉर क्वेरी पहले भी हुआ, लेकिन इस तरह से भारत की रेपुटेशन, जो इंडियन इकोनॉमी, उसको डिरेल करना और एक उद्योगपति पर हमला सिर्फ इसलिए करना कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री पर हमला करने के लिए और कोई वजह नहीं मिल रही है, ये बहुत बड़ा मसला है। और मुझे लगता है कि जो हीरानंदानी के एफिडेविट में लिखा हुआ, और विशेष करके जो इंटरनेशनल पब्लिकेशंस के नाम है, और जो कहा जा रहा है कि बिजनेस राइवलरी में और भी लोग हैं, मुझे लगता है कि इस पूरे मामले की सीबीआई जांच होनी चाहिए, और इसमें जो भी लोग शामिल हैं उनको ऐसी सजा मिलना चाहिए कि देश के लोकतंत्र, डेमोक्रेसी के साथ इस तरह का मजाक दोबारा कभी कोई कर ना पाए।
बिल्कुल, शॉर्टेस्ट रूट टू फेम. And that can be achieved, according to Darshan Hiranandani, by personally attacking Shri Narendra Modi, the Honorable Prime Minister of India. So you can imagine how and why were we seeing those personal attacks against Gautam Adani and the Adani group. We also have Ashutosh Srivastav joining us. Ashutosh, tomorrow is the day when the courts will be taking up the defamation case. which has been filed by Mahua Moitra against Jai Dehadri, against Nishikant Dubey. The question is, after this sworn affidavit, where does that case go?
Any defamation case, defamation actually is defined under Section 499 of IPC, Indian Penal Code. And if anything is said in the interest of public or, to protect the interest of the people, then it cannot be termed as defamation. However, whatever has been filed in the petition, it will depend on the, what are the the contents of the petition and how the Supreme Court takes it over. Considering today's, 19th October's this affidavit, which has been, sent by Mr. Hiranandani, that is very, very clear, and it speaks a lot about what was happening throughout. And as we know that Article 194 and 105 of the Constitution of India, it ensures that whoever argues or makes any sort of statement in the parliament, that has to be completely free from any sort of pressure or any sort of corruption in it. It should be very much clean and clear, and it should be in the interest of the people of this country. So now, whatever has been spoken, I think even the speaker can take cognizance of this issue and can initiate disciplinary action as well. And apart from that, if any further investigation is required, that also can be referred to. And based on the investigation, I think appropriate proceedings can be initiated if it is found to be correct.
Yes, the Parliament's Ethics Committee is already investigating it. And on 26th is when Jai Dehadri and Nishikant Dubey will appear before the committee. But, it's very clear that one of the don'ts for MPs is that they have to make it clear there cannot be any conflict of interest. And they have to declare their business interests when they are sworn in. Here is a member of parliament who is not only acting at the behest, but there is a larger conspiracy because it's about quick fame. It's about that quick fame, PKD Nambiar. That's what Darshan Hiranandani says. And that it was about embarrassing the Prime Minister by targeting Shri Gautam Adani.
If you really look at it, in the last 9 years, how many real on the policy matter, any of these MPs or the opposition leaders were able to attack on Narendra Modi? They were not able to. As you said rightly, that they were looking for a route to reach Narendra Modi, and which, of course, the two people have born in the same state, so you take that route. Or they are contemporaries, maybe by age or whatever, you take that route. I think this is a national shame. When you say that she is an MP member of parliament, I feel really sad that, yes, this is the kind of people who say that they are educated. I will be very happy to have people who don't even know read to write. Yeah, it's okay. But at least not the people like them to be representing my country in the my country or my people. I think this is really, really shocking. The only bottom line is that how politically the opposition leaders, not only Mahua, this is not going to stop at Mahua Moitra. This is going to stop if there is a detailed inquiry. This is going to be reaching to many other doorsteps.
He says it. He says it. He's saying she had interactions with many Congress leaders, including Rahul Gandhi, on matters relating to Adani companies.
She may be the route to multiple
then
people.
She also says, then he's saying that Miss Moitra in her endeavor was getting help from people like Sucheta Dalal, Pallavi Shroff, Shardul Shroff, who were also in touch with her and who were feeding her with all kinds of unverified, that word is important here, unverified information relating to Shri Gautam Adani and his companies. So all that was being used for a targeted attack against Gautam Adani and his companies. But if you look at it, that part of ethics, I think that is open and shut case now. It's watertight because he's saying that she shared with me her email ID as Member of Parliament so that I could send her information and she could raise the questions in Parliament. I went along with her proposal. So he did use her password. He did use her login.
that alone is the biggest crime. That alone is shocking. That alone will make her political career forever. I think that giving your credentials to someone else, and that to a corporate man, in lieu of offerings, or either in the terms of as Darshan Hiranandani says, that he was paying her for her travel, her house was renovated with his money, or all the premium gifts were all offered, and in lieu of giving the username and password, and on behalf of her, they were putting the question in the parliament website. I think where have we reached? What is the kind of a democracy? This is the kind of people we wanted to have them as our member of parliament. I am seriously sorry. And I think if the government or the agencies are not going to root out this from till to the last person involved in this conspiracy, it is in India or internationally, we will be doing an injustice to, and this should also happen before this election. And I'm also saying that
yes, the questions will be asked. Why is the TMC silent? Will the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party now speak? Because the real intent, the real nexus, the real conspiracy is now out in the open. And someone who used the password, used the login ID for posting those questions that Mahua Moitra was asking in Parliament, out of 61 questions that she has asked from 2019 to 2023, 50 were about business interests, targeting Gautam Adani and Adani Group, and in favor of Hiranandani. That part of cash for query has been established that it was done by someone. Darshan Hiranandani saying, yes, I logged in and posted those questions. Now, as far as cash, the part of what did she receive, he is saying, I'm quoting that part and then I'll slip into a short break, ladies and gentlemen. The demands that were made and favors that were asked included gifting her expensive luxury items, providing support on renovation of her officially allotted bungalow in Delhi, travel expenses, holidays, apart from providing secretarial and logistical help for her travels within India and different parts of the world. So it's very clear. It's about receiving money as well. And as Jay Dehadri has been saying, that it was around 2 crore in 2021. We are slipping into a short break. This remains our top focus. Explosive sworn-in affidavit that has been filed by Darshan Hiranandani, which clearly exposes TMC MP Mahua Moitra. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This explosive affidavit of Darshan Hiranandani is our top story right now. And an important part of this affidavit is the role that has been played by multiple leaders. And that's the reason why questions will be asked to them as well. Darshan Hiranandani is mentioning Rahul Gandhi. He is saying that she had interactions with many Congress leaders, including Rahul Gandhi, on matters relating to Adani companies. He's also saying that she bonded extremely well with other leaders of opposition like Sri Gandhi, Sri Shashi Tharoor and Sri Pinaki Misra, with whom also she shared close relations. So that ambit, these were the leaders raising questions on Adani Group, on Prime Minister Narendra Modi repeatedly, and now these are the names that are coming in this affidavit of Darshan Hiranandani. Please come in on this, Ashutosh.
See, this is a very, very serious issue. And, the affidavit which has been filed by Mr. Hiranandani, it speaks a lot about the entire issue. And it also speaks about, the kind of support or the financial assistance and support which has been given by him. This is what he is mentioning. And if that affidavit is, found to be correct, then it raises serious issues about, the corruption also, and the kind of, what he has mentioned, the kind of luxury gifts, then renovation, then travels, then, financially helping her in several ways, and apart from that, giving such kind of highly sensitive credentials like ID, password, of a parliamentarian to a person of a third, party like that and being used. So it's a very, very serious issue and it raises serious concerns. And it can be said that, whether the democratic system is being run in a proper manner or not. Because there are certain rules and regulations which have been made even in the constitution and for the smooth running of the parliament. And whoever raises question is expected to maintain the decorum and the integrity of the parliament. And
well,
for which they have been
breach
elected.
of privilege has been established certainly through this
yes.
explosive affidavit. Deshratna Nigam, the role of other leaders, because those press conferences that have been held repeatedly based on unverified information, as Darshan Hiranandani is saying, the target is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The embarrassment, the intent is to embarrass the Prime Minister of India, and that is being done only through Sri Gautam Adani because of his, both of them are contemporaries and coming from the same state.
Yes, Maria, in fact, when a crime is committed, there are certain ingredients. It requires motive, preparation, attempt, and then execution. And you have all the four available out here. There is a motive to, harm Adani and the Prime Minister. Then there is a preparation that you see through, sending information, unverified information. And that preparation leads to an attempt. And then there is the final stage, which is the execution, which has been done in the case by asking questions. The chain of the crime is complete out here.
And it all takes us to the Hindenburg report as well.
Yes, obviously. Yes. That is where the international conspiracy comes into the picture. And the people who want to harm the Adani group, which has international presence all over the world. Haifa Airport, if you look at it, which is now in the news right now. And the Australian mines and even in Indonesia, Southeast Asia. So these certain sections of the world were quite jittery about the rise of Adani's and at the same time India's rise in the world. So there had to be spanners, and the spokes trying to bring India down. And the way it has been done, I am shocked. Reason being the parliamentarians have the highest standard of ethics as compared to ordinary men. And therefore, as I said, the heaviest blow of the law has to be dealt on them. And the CBI has to register a case now. It is high time that they register the case because after the sworn affidavit, at least certain missing links have been now established. The chain seems to be complete. Whatever little chinks are there will be completed through investigation. And all the acts which are available and the crimes, whether they are special acts or the IPC, should be brought into the picture because this cannot be allowed to escape. It is a very serious issue. And as I said, today the Adanis have been targeted. Tomorrow anybody else can be targeted.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
It's the targeting of the India story.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the targeting of the journey of India. It's the world realizing that India matters. The curiosity around the India story, that has been targeted here. And that's what Darshan Hiranandani has said in this 2.5-page sworn affidavit. We are slipping into a short break. This remains our top focus, and I would request my guests to continue to stay with us. Businessman Darshan Hiranandani, in an explosive affidavit today, claimed Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra had given him her parliament login ID to frame questions on the Adani group, which she felt was the only way to target Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The claim is a huge setback for Mahua Moitra, currently battling BJP allegations that she had accepted cash and favours from the Hiranandani group chief and should be suspended from parliament. Darshan Hiranandani goes on to say that she was a very dominating person, very ambitious, and she would demand various favours which he met to retain her support. This certainly is a big twist that is coming in with this sworn affidavit that has been filed by Darshan Hiranandani. We have Vasudha Venugopal joining us live. Vasudha, the big question now is, there is no way that Mahua Moitra can find any exit anymore. The linkages have been built. The entire curry, or as we say, the ring is complete here. it takes us to Hindenburg, and the larger conspiracy is about targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi, embarrassing him, and that was the reason why she was targeting Gautam Adani.
Absolutely, Maria. I think, this case, what has happened today, Darshan Hiranandani's signed affidavit actually brings out really explosive details as to what really happened between Darshan Hiranandani and also Mahua Moitra, and in some ways corroborates all the complaints and all the research that Jai Dehadre and Nishikant Dubey had put together. Remember that Nishikant Dubey has already approached not just the speaker, but also the IT minister, saying that her login was being used by a Dubai-based gentleman, whereas Jai Dehadre has already written to the CBI. So in what Darshan Hiranandani has come up with today actually corroborates everything that these two guys have been saying. And of course, both of them have also been called by the ethics committee on October 26th. But I think, with Darshan Hiranandani's affidavit and his details today, this case actually goes beyond the parliament also, because while he accepts that he had complete security credentials, login credentials of Mahua Moitra to add questions that he wanted, which itself actually compromises the integrity and confidentiality of the parliament, there is another thing that he accepts, that Mahua Moitra was also in touch with a lot of Indian and foreign journalists, that is Suchita Dalal and Pallavi Shroff and Shardul Shroff, and a whole bunch of media organizations, international media organizations like BBC and YT. And she was also in touch with, of course, she also had great relations with the opposition leaders like Rahul Gandhi and Shashi Tharoor. And in some ways, Mr. Hiranandani has very clearly and categorically said that he was giving her a lot of favors. He was buying her a lot of expensive gifts and arranging logistical support for her travel expenses, and also helping her decorate her house. And all of this was happening while he also admits that at many points I did feel that I was being taken advantage of, but I needed her help. So in some ways, this boils down to asking questions about Mahua Moitra's own integrity, because she's the public representative, and there are rules of conduct for every MP here. So,
Vasudha, just hold on to your thoughts. Majid Memon is joining us on the phone line. Majid Memon, this affidavit certainly will be seen as a setback for Mahua Moitra, but it also opens up Pandora's box, because the linkages are being built, and all those who have been named in this affidavit must be investigated, so that the real picture, the truth must come out.
Let me tell you, Maria, I have no authority to speak on behalf of TMC. Number one, I can only answer your queries as a practicing criminal lawyer, because probably I have some experience with regard to making of such accusations, the substance in the accusations, and what happens, and how, to what extent there is truth in it, etc. First and foremost, for your viewers, all of us must remember that as far as this story is concerned of allegation against Mahua for taking gifts, etc., from A, B, C, whosoever it be, is under examination by the Parliamentary Committee on Ethics. And therefore, best course is that you have any material, instead of giving it to media, you should better give it to that committee, which is the proper authority investigating the story. But then this is, I think, ill-motivated to publicize, defame somebody, rush to media and say, file an affidavit. Now, Mr. Darshan Hiranandani must also remember that if he is trying to suggest that he has bribed the MP to do something which the MP is not supposed to do, then the bribe giver is also equally liable for criminal action. And secondly, what is wrong for the member of parliament to ask the questions which are legitimately given to him or her for the purposes of putting it in the parliament? There's nothing wrong. Why do you give gifts unless you have bad intention of trapping the MP? These are all questions which will be raised. Mr. Hiranandani, XYZ, whosoever is alleging that he has given gifts, will be cross-examined by the committee. Let him face the committee. And I
giving
think
bribes,
will come out
both
thereafter.
are criminal offence. Deshratna Nigam continues to be with us. We also have Ashutosh Srivastav, both lawyers of Supreme Court. Deshratna Nigam, the MPs who have been named have also been very vociferous. So far the silence of TMC is being questioned. The silence of India parties, particularly the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party is being questioned because of repeated targeted attack against the Adani Group, which was linked to targeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Maria, in fact, let me make a few clarifications here, because Vasudha was saying that Sucheta Shardul Pallavi Shroff, a journalist. Shardul Shroff is a lawyer. Pallavi Shroff is also a lawyer.
Yes.
She is a daughter of former Chief Justice of India, P.N. Bhagwati. So that clarification is required.
Yes, both
only
are
Sucheta Dalal is the only journalist and a writer. So, but yes, the targeting has been going on since, if you recall, the Prime Minister has been targeted without verifying anything, unverified claims which went to the Supreme Court in the Rafale matter, where Rahul Gandhi had to, give unconditional apology. And then if you look at the Pegasus, then Adani, then BBC documentary, there is an entire chain of it. And I think all seems to be connected through international conspiracy and domestic players which are there. And Adani, they found a soft target because of the two reasons as mentioned in the affidavit, being a contemporary of Mr. Modi and also from Gujarat. So they found him to be a soft target and targeted him and trying to malign the India historian Prime Minister Modi, who could not be, a single allegation of corruption against Mr. Modi. And therefore, a story was being built. Here you see the kind of allegations which were raised by Rahul Gandhi. So from where the material, unverified material was coming, now we know the sources. And even to that extent, they tried to, file cases in the courts so that somehow, the India's story is, compromised. The G20, as you rightly said, was going on. And so many other issues which are there. And time and again, the courts have shown the mirror to these people. Now, I believe, the Ethics Committee will take its own stand. This would be regarding suspension or termination of our membership to the Lok Sabha. But the crime is separate. That crime is to be investigated. So two things are different. One is the breach of privilege of the Parliament, contempt of Parliament. On the other hand, you have the crime under the Prevention of Corruption Act and various other acts which are there. So these two things are different and can go on simultaneously.
All right. A quick word also from you, Ashutosh. And then I give the final words to Tushar.
We know that in 2005, around 11 MPs were expelled from the parliament for cash for query issue, and based on the report submitted by the Bansal committee. And at present, the allegations which have been made by Mr. Hiranandani, it cannot be denied as such, and the investigation which is going on is very much required. And if there is any substance to what has been stated in the affidavit of Mr. Hiranandani, obviously the Ethics Committee will take its course, and it is not the first time which has happened. It has happened in the past, and serious actions were taken earlier also. So it's a very, very serious issue so far as the democratic system of this country is concerned.
Yes.
And the ethics of a parliamentarian
it goes beyond ethics, certainly. Now it goes beyond ethics, Tushar. There is a larger conspiracy here. There are several sources, several business houses. There are several media groups, several politicians. All of them are involved.
Well, it's a big nexus being exposed bit by bit, Maria. You look at the report that came out in the Financial Times recently, and there was no response from the market. So even the markets are not now acknowledging any of these exposure or any of these reports against Adani Group. But the question is, who started them and at whose behest? Look, the businessman who suddenly decided to turn a prover is no saint either. He was bribing an active parliamentarian to raise specific questions on specific policy matters to drop benefits and attacking a specific business group. So once this comes out in the open, we are looking at a complete nexus, which will include other parliamentarians as well, I fear, and other journalists. Now, to side with one business or to be against one business is understandable, but sharing your parliamentary login credentials with an external third party, how does that fit into the larger decorum of the parliament? That's one question.
Of course it doesn't.
It doesn't. And number two, the most damning statement in that affidavit is that someone was using her account credentials, logging in and posting questions on her behalf against the Adani Group. Now, this is some very, very serious allegation, and it can be easily detected via an IP address history and the technical checks. That can be easily detected. So the question is, if all these allegations are indeed true, where is the political endgame for Mahua Moitra? Is the TMC going to distance themselves from her? Is the alliance going to distance themselves from her? What is the political fallout of this for Mahua Moitra?
Yes, we'll be following this story very, very closely. Tushar, Deshrat Nigam and Ashutosh, thank you so much for your time. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.